Well, this morning we are really blessed to have a good friend of mine speaking and sharing. You already mentioned his name, Tony. Dan Henderson is going to be joining us, and he's going to be a huge treat for you guys this morning. Lots of great information on his Shaklee story, about network marketing, and just really his perspective of what's happening right now out in the marketplace. So Dan, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I'm going to turn things over to you to get us started with your Shaklee story.
Well, listen, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, everybody, for showing up this morning. First of all, let me say that you guys are really fortunate to be a part of a great organization with a great leader and a coach like Jennifer and like the Underwoods. And if you're new to Shaklee, I promise you have no idea how important that is. It doesn't happen for everybody in the Shaklee business. Many people sponsor under people who have no idea what they're doing, and they struggle. And so you have great leadership, and it's a big deal, I can tell you that. And if I was starting brand new today and I could just pick somebody in Shaklee to coach me, Jennifer would be right up there at the top of the list. So lucky you. And this is a great honor for me. So thank you, Jennifer. She asked me to talk a little bit about my story. And so I'm going to give you 35 years and 60 seconds. And I've got to get through this because there's a lot of stuff I'd like to cover. I was born in a small town in North Carolina, raised by a single mom. There were 7 of us in a 3-room house. So I know what it's like to struggle financially. I fell in love with being a radio DJ when I was 17 years old. That's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Married my high school sweetheart when I was still in high school. We eloped, as they call it. Ran away to Dillon, South Carolina, and got married. I worked for 4 radio stations in the next few years in North Carolina and Virginia. We started a family, 3 sons, and when I was 25 years old, I got my big break in show business, and we packed up and moved to Detroit. It was the 5th largest radio market in America at the time, and went to work there for the #1 radio station in Detroit. And I also did network radio and TV commercials as a voice talent. And things were good. I was making about $250,000 a year. I worked for ABC. I played golf 4 days a week. I had lots of free time. And life was really, really good. And I was on cruise control. And then out of the blue, I was at a social gathering talking to a sweet little lady named Lee Drake. And she was a Shaklee distributor. And I had no idea what a Shaklee distributor was. And during the conversation, she said, "Hey, Dan, listen, I don't know if you'd be interested, but if you were, I think you'd be really good in my business." And of course, I wasn't interested, but I was very curious. And so I asked her the magic question, "What's your business?" And she told me that she's in the vitamin business. And then, of course, I was less interested because I was young and healthy and bulletproof. We all know what that's like when you're young and healthy and bulletproof. I'd never taken a vitamin in my life. I had no idea what nutrition was all about and didn't give it a second thought. So, but I did agree to have her come over and show me the Shaklee business. And she was pretty smart, this lady. She wasn't a businesswoman. Her husband was with Bulliver Watch, but she was passionate about Shaklee products. But she was pretty clever. And she came over and she skipped all the small stuff and got straight to the money, right? Straight to the business model. And the way she explained it to me was really simple. She said, here's sort of the way it works. Most people just use the product and they don't do this as a business. Some people share the product with their friends and family to make a few extra dollars. And then there are a few people who really see the big picture and they take it seriously. They treat it like a business. And that's where the money is, if that would interest you. So she talked to me a lot about the concept of residual income and how you get paid for finding a few people and teaching a few people how to do what you already know how to do. And that was how she described it to me, and told me that I could earn a percentage of all the business they do, which she called a royalty. And I like that a lot. I really understood that. Being in the radio business, I understood that, if you write a hit song one time, you get a royalty forever. John Lennon once said, once we figured out the formula, we could just sit down and write ourselves a swimming pool. So that's how it works. If you can get a royalty for, maybe a popular app or a piece of software. Bill Gates did okay with software. So, if you can create one thing one time and have it pay you forever, that's pretty good. And she also knew I love golf. And her husband, Charlie, played. And her way of explaining it was, she asked me, she said, "So here's the way it works, Dan. How would you like to make 5% of Jack Nicklaus for life because you taught him how to play golf?" And that I understood, right? So there were two things in her conversation that morning that really resonated with me. First of all, I wanted to move back home to North Carolina, which I did. But I couldn't just drop my career. I had to endure those Michigan winters. And so basically I was stuck. And secondly, I knew that you could lose your job any minute if you're that's the nature of broadcasting. There really is no permanence about your income. So I was always very concerned about that. So on the outside looking in, my life looked great. I had the car, I had the swimming pool, nice house, life was good. And I wasn't a very good Shaklee prospect. In fact, just looking back on that, the fact that she approached me at all, I thought it was, pretty amazing. But of course, I knew the truth, and the real truth is that I lived in fear on many days and concerned, what am I going to do with my wife and 3 kids if I lose this job? So I can really relate to what's happening today in the job market. And for many people today, of course, it's just brutal. So Lee did a very smart thing. She left a cassette tape with me. You guys remember cassette tapes, right? And there was a master coordinator. His name was Bob, and Bob Hoker, and he was making $36,000 a month. That's what he said on this tape. Well, I didn't believe that. I thought, no way, right? Another one of those deals, one of those too good to be true deals. And I thought, really, basically every negative that a lot of people think about our business model, that, when you just simply don't understand. But she did have my attention, so I did some homework, found out Shaklee was the real deal. We were the second fastest growing company in America in the decade of the 70s, a great product, real science, all the good stuff. And I thought, hey, listen, if this guy can make $36,000 a month, like Tony Underwood, then, it's real. And maybe I can make $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and I can stop worrying about losing my job. And then the hard part, all of my celebrity buddies thought I was nuts. They couldn't believe I was doing this. There were days when I didn't believe I was doing this, right? We all want to be thought of as smart and successful and talented and cool and all that ego stuff. That's just being human. But fortunately, as I look back on it over the last 30 years, I'm just glad I didn't let them decide what I was going to do with my life. So my thought was that I can do this in a very professional way, and I could feel good about it. And I was pretty confident I could find a few serious, high caliber people who felt the same way I did. And I know one thing for sure. I knew it then, I know it now. There's just no end to the number of people who were like me, stuck in a job they don't love, living in a place that they don't want to live. So we said, okay, and we jumped in and just kept doing what I was doing for a while. Ultimately, it all worked out. And when my Shaklee income replaced the income I was generating, we packed it up, moved back here to North Carolina, which I call my blue heaven, and partnered with a guy who gave me my first job in radio way back when. We bought 2 radio stations in Jacksonville, Florida, which I have since sold. And that's fulfilling another one of the dreams that I had. And Jennifer, that's my story. So wow, that's how I got started.
Well, it's a fabulous story. And what I love about the story, Dan, is something that you said. You said that you didn't really look like the typical Shaklee prospect, and yet she still talked to you. And I think that's a really critical piece for everybody on this call to remember, is that just because it looks good on the outside doesn't mean the inside is good or what's really happening behind closed doors. And everybody is a good Shaklee prospect. So I'll turn things back to you.
Okay. All right. So I like using this slide to tell my Shaklee story, and I just gave you the short version of that story. But many years ago, Shaklee Corporation did some research and a survey, and they asked people why you got involved in the business. What's your primary reason for getting in and staying in? Is I think how that was phrased. And this is the result they got. These are the top 5. There were many, but the top 5 were: number 1, better health. That makes sense. I think we all, would get that. Number 2 was residual income, money, if you will. And number 3 was time freedom, 4 tax benefits, and 5 was financial security or retirement. So those were the top 5. I would imagine that if we did that survey today, I don't know that it would change all that much, really. So what you see down on this slide, if you're seeing the slides, is that I put a 1, a 2, and a 3 under these, because we all have different reasons for getting involved, and then we have different reasons still for staying involved. So my number one was financial security, and I told you that story. I was concerned about my job, and I didn't have a backup. I didn't have a financial safety net. I didn't have a 401k. I didn't have a rich uncle. So for me, that was the reason. Second reason was the idea of residual income, the idea that you can build it once and literally, if you want, walk away. And it's just really, as a business model, which is what this is an incredible, incredible concept if you understand it. And I'm going to show you a couple of things here I think will be interesting about maybe the way we need to be seeing the business. Perspective. Jeff Bezos, who started Amazon, had a great quote. He said, perspective is worth 80 IQ points. And to me, that means, you know, if you're a genius and you have the wrong perspective, you're probably not going to do very well. And if you're not a genius, but you have the right perspective, you can still do pretty well. So I'm going to give you a little perspective, Dan Henderson's perspective. Number three for me was tax benefits. I had no idea about the tax benefits of an in-home business. And here's what she said to me, Lee Drake, sweet lady, right? She said, honey, you can save a lot of money on your income tax. I said, really? She said, yeah. I said, how does that work? She said, I have no idea how it works, but here's what you do. She said, you get a shoebox, and every time you buy anything that you think might be business related, you just drop that receipt in that shoebox. And at the end of the year, you give it to your accountant, you'll figure it out, you'll save money on your income tax. Well, okay. I said, so I did that. And my first income tax refund check was $13,000, just a little bit over $13,000 as a refund. Well, of course, I knew I was going straight to jail. That couldn't be right. It couldn't be legal. So I called my accountant, Stuart Frank in Michigan, who is still my accountant today. And I said, come on, Stuart, really? Man, I don't want to go to jail. He said, no, this is legit. So Glenn and I talked about it, and we said, okay, we're gonna make sure that if the IRS comes knocking, we will get this money back. So we went out. My youngest son at the time, Jeffrey, started playing piano with both hands by ear at 5 years old. He's the only gifted person in our family. And so we bought him a Steinway Grand piano, Model M Grand Steinway Grand. And it was $13,000. And a couple of months ago, I was in a local Raleigh piano store, looked at the Steinway Model M Grand. It was $96,000 retail. So that was a pretty good little deal. So that's my tax story. And then, of course, we have fallen in love with Shaklee products and better health and time freedom. I could talk about all day long. We have just lived a life that is truly, in that regard, a dream. To have the organization that I'm going to show you right now. And these three little things at the bottom, equity, you can sell it, you can pass it on to your kids, and joint survivorship. Those are three things we didn't talk about that day, but they're so, so vital. I want to tell you a quick little joint survivorship story. Talked to a lady just last week, and she's a master coordinator. She's lost her husband. We were talking about her income. And I said, and of course, I knew a little bit about it, but I said, so your check going up? And she said, yeah, it actually is. And I said, so do you mind sharing with me what your check is this month? And she said, well, last month it was $24,000, and I expect it to be 35 or so next month, right? And that's pretty cool. I said, so let me ask you another question. Seriously, how long has it been since you recruited a brand new person, first level to you and your husband? And she said, oh my gosh, that's 25 years maybe? So that's the value of building strong individuals first level to you. Now, I'm going to try to, I don't know how in the world I'm going to get through with this in 30 minutes, but anyway, I want to show you this. This is a screenshot of, this was in April 3rd. You can see in the top left-hand corner if you're seeing these slides. I woke up on the morning of April 3rd, and there was my volume in the lower left-hand corner for the organization 281,000 OV. That was on day 3. Now, on the 15th of April, on the right, another screenshot. If you have a Shaklee business and you can do Shaklee Connect on your cell phone, you can see this, and it updates every 30 minutes. It's pretty cool. And I like watching it go up. And you can see that on the 15th of the month of April, the month that we're in right now, my volume for the month was 1,072,000. So here's the question. How does that happen? So people ask me all the time, what's the secret? And my answer is simple. Over time, and I know this to be a fact because it's true of every network marketing company, every major leader. It's true of Jennifer. I don't know Jennifer's total organization. I don't know the Underwood's organization, but I would bet my car and my house that it's the same, because I've never seen it fail. That 90% or more of your income over time is going to be generated by 3 to 5 key builders. That's just the way it works. So here are the 3 that I want to talk about just a little bit. Gary and Faye Burke, first level to us. We're so fortunate to have these 3. The Burks, he was a coach. She was in IT. There's Ross and Mary Margaret Early. They live in Dallas. He was a coach in the insurance business. She worked with him in the insurance business. Rocky and Molly Pratt, he was an airline pilot, laid off airline pilot, and when they were introduced to Shaklee. And they're all master coordinators, of course, and the little gray circles, Coogan's, Bihars, Johnson's, Palmars, Fry, Schmidt, all of those, they're all master coordinators as well. And be pretty fascinating. People say, well, how much money can you make and how long will it take? Well, it took the Burks 8 years to make master coordinator, and they became a beloved, phenomenal Shaklee leader. There's no doubt about that, right? Now, Ross and Mary Margaret Early, different story. In the first 30 days they were in the business, they sponsored the Palmyers, the Frys, and the Schmidts in the first 30 days. And the Pratts, they have our largest organization, Rocky and Molly Pratt. There was, the last time I checked, I think there were 18 master coordinators, a whole bunch of key coordinators, a whole bunch of executive coordinators, but just a really extraordinary situation. So let's take a look at this. Jennifer and I were invited out to speak at the New Director Conference a couple of years back. And the company wanted me to show this concept of 3 key people, which I like to talk about. And so I said, okay, well, let's put together some numbers. So these are Shaklee legal. These are not from me. Shaklee Corporation gave me these numbers. So they're exactly right. Between 2007 and 2015, these 3 organizations alone, I have others, but these 3 alone, the organizational volume generated by these 3 couples is $230,471,000. Now, here's what's cool. That represents 99.83% of all the volume generated in our organization. Now, please let that sink in. In the beginning, it doesn't look like this. You do most of the work, you're trying to find key people, right? But over time, if you find 3 key people, right? Not just 3 people who sign up and buy a kit. I'm talking people who will treat it like a business and take it seriously. And you will. I mean, you can find those, and they're there. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But anyway, 99.83%. Our personal volume with a small group in Raleigh, very small personal group, because we don't need a real big personal group. We did 0.17% of all of that volume. So if we look at the next slide, shows us that the 1099 income that we generated, or that we got, that dropped in the mailbox. I think they should deliver these checks FedEx, by the way. They're direct deposit, you don't get to see them. But anyway, we get one like this every 30 days. It's pretty cool. 9,933,000 was our income from this organization just for those years. And that's an average annual income of $764,000. And that's, as you can see, almost 100% residual income. So it's pretty powerful. In that to me, is the secret. If you're looking for one, is to find 3 to 5 key people and help them build an organization, and that's when the good stuff happens. Okay, so let's just quickly talk a little bit about timing. There's no doubt that it's a critically important part of what we want to talk about right now. Some people say they don't believe in luck, and I've had some great luck and I've had some really bad luck. So I believe in luck, right? If you just lost your job or your business, you can chalk that up to bad luck. And if your rich uncle just died and left you $2 million, that's good luck. So I think timing is super, super important, and it certainly matters in our business. So let's talk a little bit about that. Right now is a very, very unique time, and nobody saw this coming, but it's here, and it's very unique for us. There's no doubt that we know that Shaklee has products that people want and need. I'm sure Jennifer and the Underwoods, you get that. And everybody's awareness of the need to stay healthy has just gone up exponentially. We know that people, the way people are going to look at job security, that's just changed in a very, very big way. And we know being totally dependent on one source of income, which is what most people do. It's what I did most of my adult life until Shaklee. That's changed for millions of people. And even when this situation, this pandemic is mostly over, recouping all the losses is just going to take some time. For many people, it's just never going to happen. So, what's happening right now is going to stay in our heads for a long, long time, like 9/11, like the Great Depression. So here's the point I want to make, a couple of things. First of all, I think it's important to know that in our industry and our company is totally recession proof. And we're very, very fortunate to be in a situation in which a company can continue to grow, not only stabilize and survive, but to actually grow. There have been 9 recessions since Shaklee was founded in 1956. We've survived every single one of them and grown through these recessions. In fact, I found it interesting. I've read about the fact that during the Great Depression, the #1 selling product was makeup. You guys know that? No? And you know why, right? I mean, people still want to look good, right? So we're marketing a couple of different things, right? This, and people, a way to stay healthy and a way to make some money. And the fact that we can now do this from home, technology makes our business so much easier to do that, it's pretty amazing. So while this recession is not good for most Americans, it's only going to affect Shaklee in a very positive way. And here's the second thing, and the thing I'll finish with: in network marketing, nothing can change your business growth faster than momentum. When a company is on fire, that just changes everything. The level of excitement goes up, the level of engagement goes up, the checks go up. We're not supposed to quote incomes, and I won't, but I think quoting this is okay, right? My check in March went up $18,000. So I got an $18,000 bonus, or made $18,000 more just for the month of March than the month before. So the stories change when you're in a momentum phase. You'll be able to bring more people into your business. People that would never listen to you before will be open, and people will be more open to exploring the opportunity than they've ever been before. Shaklee told us the other day that our new distributors coming into the business is up 270% for March and April. And here's why that can be important for all of you who are taking a look at the business. Because I think, we know it's important. Emotion is the driver for all decisions and actions. And we know people want to be on a train that's headed somewhere. They want to be where the action is. They want to be with a winner. And that's what we have happening right now. Is very unique. And Shaklee was a great opportunity a couple of months ago, but right now it's just a whole different ballgame. And I know what momentum looks like and feels like, because I've seen it happen before. It happened to Shaklee, and I don't know if you guys realize this, but in 1972, total sales for Shaklee was $19.2 million. Total sales for the entire company. And in less than 10 years, 500 million in sales in the US. That's when Shaklee became the first company on the New York Stock Exchange and the first company in the Fortune 500. So here's my point. If you have an interest in generating a six-figure income, whether that's 6 figures a year or 6 figures a month, you'll need to find a few key builders, and they will be the foundation of all your future success. 90% of your income, as I've said before, and that's never been easier to do than it is right now. And here's a key fact that I do want to mention and leave you with. All three of the people that I talked about a moment ago and their organizations that are the foundation for our organization that generated all that, that was all created in a 3-year momentum period. It grew over the next 30 years, but that's when it was created. In the next 90 days, in the next 120 days, in the next 12 months, you can position yourself for the rest of your life financially by finding 3 to 5 key people. And here's a question I think I would encourage you to ask. Let's assume for a moment that you didn't make a dime in Shaklee for the next 3 years. That's not going to happen. But if it did, and during the next 3-year timing window that's open right now, you are able to find the 3 to 5 key builders that'll be the driving force for your business that will over time generate 90% of your income, literally millions of dollars in residual income. I think we've earned just short of $30 million in our organization, right? If you didn't make a dime for the next 3 years, but you found 3 Jennifer Plackens or 3 Tony Underwoods, that'd be pretty hard to do, actually. But if you found 3 really strong, key, committed leaders, would it be worth it? That's the question. So that's a decision for each of us to make. We all have different reasons. Timing is different for everybody. Motivation is different for everybody. But I'll tell you what I would do. If I was starting my Shaklee business right now, or if I had been in for a while and I was starting over, which is, by the way, one of the great things about our business, right? You can't be fired. You can start over as many times as you like, right? Which I think is just a great thing about our business. What I would do is I'd just focus all of my time, attention, and effort on finding the best, most ambitious key leaders I could find. And my final bit of advice would be have as much fun as you possibly can have in the process. So that's it for me.
Oh, Dan, that was amazing. I don't know that you were able to watch the chat box as you were talking. You were giving so many wonderful nuggets and people were capturing some of those nuggets in the chat box. And really what you shared today is just so powerful about our business model, about the potential of our business model and real success. I mean, you're showing real numbers of what's happened in your business. I can't agree with you more. Going out there right now and finding your 3 to 5 key people is critical. This past week, I think I did 9 to 10 grand openings with the Jersey team because I was virtually in Jersey. And those grand openings were for new businesses. So get your grand openings for your new business partners scheduled. Let's get them on the books. Let's make this happen because now is the time. We are in that beginning phase of the momentum and it is going to continue to swell and grow. And all of you have an opportunity to participate. So Dan, once again, I can't thank you enough for being here and sharing. It was just a huge gift this morning to have you here. And I hope that everybody has a fabulous Shaklee day and a fabulous Shaklee weekend.